Guys, this is a list of girls to avoid. Okay, number one, we have spiritual girls. Don't do it. They will cast a spell on you. You think I'm joking? These crackheads, they keep crystals. They have little crystals and they burn the crystals. And while the crystals are smoking, they do black magic. And then every time you look at another woman, you like another girl's post, they'll create a voodoo doll of you and they just start beating the voodoo doll up. Don't do it. I knew a spiritual girl in the past. I swear down, I saw her fly one time. Either she jumped really high or she levitated, but I saw it. Don't talk to them. Okay, number two, we have emo/goths. You don't want those problems. I'll be honest, I'm scared of them. Sorry, I'm scared of they/them. Imagine you lot, it's just Halloween 24/7. Imagine you try to take them to a nice restaurant, Hakkasan or Nobu, and they just pull up looking like the Undertaker. Listen here, Batman. Why are you dressed in a cape? Are you a superhero? You got a black eyeshadow like you just someone just got banged you in the face. You got a black leather jacket like you're in the Italian mafia. Don't do it. Okay, number three, we've got hench gal. Guys, if she can pick you up, drop her. Because imagine you get into a fight with her and you piss her off. She just comes up to you, she grabs you and says, what? What'd you say? And you think you're stronger than her, so you push her. And she doesn't move. Bro, what if she pushes you and you move? What if she just bangs you in your face? What are you gonna do? You can't even do anything. What, you can call the man them, hey man them, back me. My girl's beating me up. They'll laugh at you, bro. It will never be allowed in a man them GC ever again. PlayStation parties will ban you, bro. You'll be banished.
Hey gents, for today's video, we're going to go over why you should avoid goth women. This is very important if you want to jump right back into the dating pool. Now, what is goth? Goth is a music category, a fashion style, and a lifestyle, and is often characterized by an affiliation to a dark aesthetic. Goth developed from various other youth subcultures, including punk, and evolved from these underground origins in the late 1970s to more commercial visibility in the 1990s. Goth women were always characterized by their multicolored or bleached blonde, spiky or other quirky hairstyles, their affinity for tight torn skinny jeans or trap pants, leather denim jackets, facial piercings, dark-colored lipstick, or eyeliner. For the sake of today's video, Frank told me about his experience with this type of experience to save the young men out here parading the dating field. Here's what he has to say. After knowing several of these women over my lifetime and having both short-term and long-term relationships with a few of them, regarding them, I've reached a number of conclusions and warnings. And a young man out there should know that even by the standards of contemporary Western women, goth women are unquestionably among the worst, if not the worst women in the world. Every single goth woman is a giant chameleon looking for a group to fit into. They simply wanted more attention than the average woman by being one of the few women in their scene, and would frequently switch from one subculture group to another depending on which was edgier and more popular. Most didn't even know or care about the music or art of their subculture. Because the subculture groups tended to be filled with manipulated beta men, they had vast pools of beta orbiters. However, the few goth women I did manage to place the wager on were never anything spectacular and never justified the effort or the hurdles I had to clear. Back then, I had a number of friends who were on the insult and beat spectrum who totally raved over these kinds of ladies. These goth women did this mercilessly by stealing their attention and pretending to be friends with these men, since in their eyes, these women were offering something new and different. Rather than simply ignoring them like a cheerleader, these women only attract attention from beta males. They still desire to associate with high-value males and bad boys. Many of these women would covertly follow the men of their groups to rock concerts or raves in an effort to make connections with the DJs and rock stars. I think these women harbored a lot of self-hatred. From what I've observed, these women tended to be fairly attractive. I'll give them 7. And were either rejected from the most popular preppy women cliques because they were either too awkward or geeky, or were just not quite attractive enough. The most appealing and popular women often formed these cliques in groups and hierarchies during high school. Because of this, they adopted the goth style to act petulantly, save face, and pretend that they chose to be unpopular, while concealing the fact that they were not accepted and the countercultural spirit that drove them to rebel. Many of these women later evolved into the awakened feminist monsters that we now see policing and guarding millenarian zones on social media. Many of them now claim to like science fiction, anime, comic novels, and video games to monitor male speech and behavior and draw attention away from the vulnerable blue pill men participating in these activities. Now that I've been in monk mode for 2 years, when I actually go about looking for a girlfriend, I much prefer preppy cheerleader types to older goth women. They never pretended to like the same TV shows, hobbies, or music as me in my experience. Kudos to Frank for talking about his experience with these goth women. Personally, I also noticed many goth women back then, and many were lesbians and Wiccans back then too. They were not so attractive and were usually overweight, and tall with masculine features. There were very few feminine ones back in the mid-90s, although the one I knew personally was not a chameleon. As Frank said, the majority of them are trying really hard to find a place to belong. They still have the same long, lanky, deformed bodies that they try to cover up with some character that symbolizes a man's suppressed amorous dream when I see them at Comic Cons these days when I attend to have interviews. Just so you know, I only dislike the 99% of goth women who pretend to be interested in their community. I don't dislike all of them. People living in large North American cities like LA, Toronto, Chicago, or perhaps New York would likely see this kind of thing far sooner than people living in smaller towns. Before the advent of the internet, the average time it took for culture to spread to all the smaller towns and cities was 5 to 10 years. One goth woman I know would go to London, England to shop for the newest trends, allowing her to be a year or two ahead of everyone else. Is that a sellout? Or someone that actually enjoys your subculture? You'd be the judge. Even in her 30s, she was still doing it. But the majority of the high school goth women eventually give up and move on to new horizons. They may have been desperate for the bad boy nonconformists, but they may have settled for the beta male probable school shooter type of guy instead. When nonconformists gain too much popularity, conformity eventually becomes the norm. I think that some people utilize the gothic subculture as a justification for becoming the way they are. Anyway, that's all for today's episode on Circle of Kings. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It motivates me to create more content for you. See you next time. Cheers.